Hey, you guys, I finally made it back to you to do part four in my series of ghosts, spirits, entities, and the paranormal. I know it's taken me some time to make it back here, but sometimes life just gets in the way. I was hoping to do this video in the style of an interview because I met these two wonderful, wonderful ladies and they shared some of their personal experiences with me. And I'm going to share them with you, but they also shared, some advice with me, some tips with me, and we bonded and we formed a friendship. And I really enjoyed my time that I spent with these two lovely, lovely ladies. And I'm going to use this video as a way to share with you what they shared with me. I've already lit an incense, and what I did is I just couldn't wait. I I got a new incense, and I've never tried it, and I opened it, I smelled it, and it's just divine. I had to go ahead and light it and get it going. And I cleansed the space already, but a little more is never going to hurt because, like I've said time and time again, negativity is always lurking. Negativity is just waiting for just the teeniest, tiniest little opening, just like a little bug, waiting for just a little crack, and it can just scoot on in there. And once it gets in there and it latches on, that's it. So, like I always tell you, if you're gonna do spell work, if you're going to teach, if you're going to learn, if you're just going to have a discussion about, your craft or spell work or anything of that nature, just cleanse your area, cleanse your space. And I also, which I'm sure you guys knew it was coming, I'm including a stone. Well, it's a tower, and it's an amethyst tower. And as you probably already know, amethyst is one of those stones that is like a one for all stone. It has many, many qualities, and you can use it in almost anything you do. It is a protective stone. It is a stone to get rid of negativity. It's good to use in dream work. It has calming properties. It has um, properties that pertain to love, self-love, love of others, kind of like rose quartz, but a little different vibe. Um, and this right here, this is actually new. So I figured I would include it also because I haven't had a chance to work with it yet. And I figured, by including it, I could get familiar with its energy and it could get familiar with mine. And I could charge it a little bit and go from there because I really feel like I'm going to vibe with this stone pretty good. Most of the time, I pick up right away whether or not this, stone is going to be a stone I can work with, if it's going to be a stone for me. And when I first seen this stone, I just knew, I knew it was my stone. I knew it was meant for me. And since buying it, I just, the more I handle it, the more I look at it, I'm vibing with it. And I just had to include it today because, like I said, it's just one of those one for all stones. So I'm going to sit it right here and let it hang out with us. And I brought a small selenite wand because I figured it would help in cleansing our space just a little bit more. And like I've said, it never ever hurts to cleanse your area, because negativity's always there. It's always lingering, I'm telling you. And with the topic that we're going to be discussing, I figured it was better safe than sorry. So I figured I would bring out the selenite because selenite has a salt base anyway, so it's cleansing in that right, but it's just, it has a very, very strong cleansing property. You can take if you can buy a selenite plate, but you can use your wand. If you just have a selenite stone, it doesn't matter. Long as it's selenite, you can actually, you know, sit your other stones on top of the selenite, and the selenite will cleanse your stones. And the thing about selenite is you don't actually have to cleanse it because it is such a cleansing stone that is self cleansing. So, selenite's another one of those must have crystals for anybody that's, into crystal healing or witchcraft or, whatever your poison is. This is one of those stones you must have. But let's move on because if anything can get me sidetracked, it's stones. But I guess I'm going to just start out with a story. I'm going to tell you about an experience that these ladies told me. I'm going to also share with you their first name, and I'm just going to leave it at that, just for their privacy, because the whole issue of not recording our meeting was because they didn't want to upset their family. And, I have to respect, their rights. And I do understand that completely because some people are very closed mind and some people are too worried about what other people think. Some people just they allow that fear to take over, and fear will cripple you if you don't be careful. But these two ladies, Miss April and Miss Alice, and they're the best of friends. They're inseparable and have been since childhood. They explained to me that they're best friends, but not only that, they explained to me that they're twin flames. They're not in a sexual relationship, they're not in a couple types relationship. They're more like sisters or best friends. And they said that they picked up on this in childhood, that they complete each other. They're each other's other half. And as I watched them talking and working together, and I could see it. I really could. And we learn something new every day. And in case you didn't know, your twin flame does not have to be a sexual partner. Your twin flame does not have to be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, or a wife. Your twin flame can be a best friend. Your twin flame can be a brother or a sister. A twin flame isn't, a couples type of relationship. A twin flame is, it's one soul that has split, and when those two people come together, they make that one soul whole again. So if you think about it, if you take something that's whole and you separate it, and this part of it and this part of it, of course, you're each other's other half. And that's what your twin flame is your other half. You're a portion of a soul, and your twin flame is the other portion. And when you two unite, You're that one complete soul. And that's just how I look at a twin flame. You know, a twin flame is someone's other half. A twin flame is the person that makes you whole. And, you know, like I said, you don't have to be romantically involved to be twin flames. And I knew this, you know, I'd heard this, but when I seen these two women together, I knew it for fact. I watched these women and I kept wondering, you know, are they being genuine with me? Are they telling me the truth? And as I watched them and listened to them, I just knew. I knew in my heart that they were genuine, and they shared with me some, you know, things that they told me they hadn't never shared with anyone, and I felt privileged, and they give me permission to share with you, so that's what I'm here to do today. And let's just get started. They told me of a story, and this story is the story of the girl in the pond. And this happened when they were both girls, young girls, but they used to like to go fishing. And not only did they like to go fishing, they liked to wander in the woods. And so one day they were out wandering in the woods and they came across a little pond in the woods. So they decided they were going to go fishing. And they had done this many, many times before. They knew exactly what to do and how to do it. So what they did is they went out and they both broke them off. I guess you could say not a tree limb, but they called it a switch. I don't know what you would call it, but you know, we're Southerners. But they said they went out there and they broke them off a switch. And they took their little pocket knife and they skinned it up and got it clean and smooth. And like I said they've done this many a times. So they went down to the pond, they found the spot they wanted to sit in to fish, and it was Miss Alice that pulled her shoe off and took the shoelace out of her shoe, and then she took her other shoe off and took the shoelace out of it, and they tied that to their little tree branch switch, and then she had a little ribbon on the front of her dress. She said the dress she was wearing had like a bib style piece on the front with little ribbon bows, and she said the bows were attached by little safety pins. So she took off two of her pins and bent it and made the hook and attached it to the string. And she said, you know, they did it so many times. It was like second nature. They loved to fish, you know, two little country girls. And so they, you know, they got their little poles ready. And she said, then they lifted up a big rock and they dug down in the soil until they came across a little spot where they found some earthworms. And she said they even got lucky that day and found a few crickets as well. So they baited their hooks and they threw their little line out there and they were fishing. And she said they actually caught two or three little smile fish. And she said they've done this as well. They took and they pulled a piece of vine off of a tree, and they took and they threaded it through the fish's mouth and through the gill and tied it, you know, to where they could hang on to their fish as they were fishing more. And she said they were sitting there and they were chatting and they were enjoying their time together. She said, and what caught her attention to begin with was splashing out in the water. And she said she peered out there and she looked. She said there was a little girl out there, and the little girl appeared to be struggling to stay afloat. She said, and her friend said, oh my goodness, she's drowning. She said, so they both threw their poles down and they jumped into the pond and they started, you know, swimming out there. And she said, halfway out there, she said they noticed there was a man out there with her. They said they don't know how he got there or when he got there because they were swimming, but as they got halfway to her, that's when they realized he was there, and they said they stopped, and they said they watched for a moment, and they said as they watched, this man was pushing the little girl under. He wasn't helping her, he was hurting her. She said it appeared that he was trying to drown her, and she was kicking and screaming, help, help, he's trying to kill me. And she said, so they started swimming, really fast, and they were telling her, hang on, we're coming. They were yelling at the man, leave her alone, get away from her. And they were, swimming just as fast as they could. And they said they got all the way out there in the middle of the pond. And when they did, there was no one there, no little girl, no man, no one. The water was, calm. And they both sat there and they looked at each other, and they said they knew what had happened. They knew what they saw because this wasn't the first time. They knew they saw a ghost. So they swam back, they packed up their stuff, and they went home. And she said this event just, it lingered in her mind. She couldn't get it off her mind. So she did a little research, and come to find out, a little girl did drown there. It said nothing about a man drowning her. It just said a little girl had wandered out on her own and drowned. But she said she knew differently. She knew that this man did something to this child. So her and her friend, as the years went by and they grew into young adults, they always thought about this little girl at the pond. And they'd even heard other stories of people having sightings of the little girl in the pond. And no one ever mentioned the man trying to drown her, but they said they knew what they saw. And when they were like, I think she said 20 years old, it was just put upon them to go release her. It'd been long enough to go release her. So they went back to that pond, and they said that particular day they didn't see her, but they said while they were there, it was very cloudy and it was drizzling rain, and they said they performed a ritual, and they didn't, disclose to me what the ritual was or what they done. They just told me they did a ritual which freed her. She said because when someone dies a violent death, or they die from a sickness, or their, death is not always happy, but anytime someone dies and their death is, painful, or, they're sick, or, they die under bad circumstances, sometimes their, I guess you would say soul, I'm not sure, but their spirit gets trapped in a certain place, and it's usually the place that they died at. And she said, and when this happens, they get trapped because of the grief, the negativity, the pain, the hurt, the misery, the sickness. They get trapped. And she said they can't move on. And she said that's what they did. They went there and they did a ritual which helped this little girl's spirit be released, and she moved on. And they said once the ritual was completed, I mean, immediately as the ritual was completed, the rain stopped and the clouds just drifted away. She said, and within a matter of minutes, the sun started shining very, very bright. She said they both felt warm all over. They felt light. They felt at peace. So she said she knew in her heart that this particular little girl's spirit had been released. And even as she told me this story, I watched her face, I watched her emotions, and she smiled as she was telling me about this little girl's spirit being released. And I looked at her friend, and her friend was smiling, and I could see tears welling up in their eyes, but these were tears of joy. These weren't tears of pain. And I could feel happiness as they were telling me. And I truly, truly believe what they told me was genuine. And I truly believe that these women are gifted. And, they told me more stories and they told me lots of advice. And they even told me some personal things about myself that they could not have possibly known. And they really, really, both of them, they tugged at my heartstrings, is what they done. And I'm gonna continue keeping contact with these ladies, and I'm thinking I may even make another video to share some of their experiences, because this is what they've did their entire life, has been to communicate with spirits. And they informed me that most of the time, if a spirit comes to you, it's because the spirit is trying to tell you something or show you something, or even perhaps ask you for help. And she said, there's different reasons that people are able to see spirits. Some people are born, that way. And she said some people just, they inherited that trait, that ability to be able to see spirits or hear spirits, or, communicate with spirits. She says some people can get sick or have an accident, and whenever they heal and get better, something is different about them. Some people can have a near death experience, and that near death experience, it's like for a split second, they got to look out the window into the afterlife, or they got to crack the door and peek at the afterlife. But before getting better or before waking up, they didn't shut the door, they left it cracked. So now they have the ability to see spirits, to communicate with spirits. That's how they described it to me, and it made sense, And that was the beauty in the conversation with these women, was they talk just like, we're talking. They explained things to me to where I could understand them. They made it seem so clear, and just I was able to follow them and understand them. And I really appreciated, that they talked to me like that. And it's amazing that some people are gifted these qualities. And she explained to me that everyone has special gifts. Some people just haven't allowed their gifts to enhance yet. Some people haven't accepted their gifts. Some people just, they're ignorant. They don't understand that when they hear voices and no one's there, they don't understand that that's spirits they're hearing, you know. Or if they see flashes of light, or they see something out the corner of their eye, or they actually see a full body apparition, they're ignorant. They don't understand that they're seeing a spirit, Either, they could just be flat out ignorant, to the fact. They could be fearful. They could be, you know, ignoring it intentionally. There's lots of reasons why people can and can't see spirits. But she said everyone has a particular gift. She said it's up to you to, discover your gift, to, you know, nurture your gift, to use your gift, to get your gift to grow, and to for you to grow within your gift. She said it's entirely up to you. She said you can't let fear control you. And she said you can't use the excuse of being ignorant. She said because we're all able-bodied enough to learn and to grow, and that is our responsibility, is to learn and to grow. And she explained to me what I already knew, but she just like, she pointed it out again. And sometimes we just forget, we just forget. We let life get in the way, and we just forget. And I think, with me, I do it all the time, and I'm sure some of you do it as well. But like she said, growth is so important, whether it's in our craft, in our life, with our abilities, with our gifts. She said, growth is so important. She said, because growth leads to knowledge. And she said, knowledge leads to success in anything you do, whether it's manifesting your intentions, whether it's just living your life to the fullest, or, just being the best you that you can be. And, she explained it to me, and she made it so simple and so easy to follow. And, you know, some people, they have these wonderful gifts, and, you know, they just want to use them to teach people, to help people, and all we have to do is just open our eyes and listen, and it'll come to us, just like she explained to me. Some people are born with a veil, and usually people that are born with a veil, they can see spirits, they can hear spirits. She explained to me about people being born with a spirit level in their eyes. They are even more gifted than someone that's been born with a veil. Um, with the near death experiences, you may have been, as an unborn child, someone could have placed a spell on you or your mother for you to have spirit communication. um you may have inherited it from a family member, or there may be no reason at all. Sometimes there's just no reason. The goddess chose you for this particular gift, and it is what it is. But I just wanted to share some of the things that we talked about, and I didn't even scratch the surface. I met with these ladies all week, and we talked and we talked, and it was so beautiful. And I just couldn't believe that these two women have spent their whole life, you know, with this type of gift, and they have no problem with it. They're at peace. They have accepted it. And all they want to do is share it with someone. And it resonated with me on such a deep level, because I say that all the time. That's what we're here to do. We're here to grow and to learn and to share, because that's how, you know, that's how we grow. And when we experience growth, we receive knowledge. And knowledge is what brings us that much closer to the goddess, and that aids us in our craft, that aids us in our day to day life, aids us in our spell work. And it just, like I've said before, all of these little pieces fit together so perfectly to make our craft. And I can't say it enough, and all you need is what's within your heart. Just believe in yourself, love yourself, and remember, if you believe, you will receive. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope something I said resonated with someone out there. And if it did, please, please like and subscribe, and possibly a part 5. Who knows? Talk to you guys later. Bye.